Hello, boys and ghouls, and welcome to another episode of the Subway Rat Podcast. It's been a while. It's been a long while, and I'm very sorry. I guess work and life got in the way. There's no excuse. I tried to put out 2 a month, and I didn't for a month or two, but I'm back. I'm back! And today's guest is a very special guest. It's Luuk Van Gestel of Rectal Smegma. So today's food for thought is my grandmother. This is a story I've shared more than once, so apologies if you've already heard the story. My grandmother is a very kind, beautiful, adorable old woman. She is almost 95 years old, if I'm not mistaken. There's this tradition, I'm guessing it's not just Spanish, where the grandmother usually gives her nieces and nephews like a bit of pocket money. Like it's usually you give it to like really young kids, like here's a couple euros, go buy some candy. So my grandmother kept this tradition very much alive with me for some reason. I guess it's because I'm awesome. And she would give me more or less 20 euros. And I would usually just put those 20 euros in my pocket and end up spending it on stuff I didn't even realize, like whatever, a taxi, a dinner, drinks, a metro, whatever. So many years ago, I made the conscious decision of I'm gonna put this money to a good cause. So every time she gives me 20 euros, I buy a record, a vinyl, like that one record I really want, but it's a bit pricey. So those are my grandmother's records. So on my vinyl shelf, there is a Abuela de Luis section. So she had stopped doing it for a while, but I'm super happy because I saw her a couple of days ago and she gave me 20 euros. So I have to see what record to buy. Any suggestions are very much welcome. I'm between the Oliver Tree self-titled record, the Ugly is Beautiful record, or the Section Hate record, or the latest Gate Creeper. I don't know. So many options. So enough with me and more about Luuk. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Luuk. I love the background. I love the sea creatures. If I'm correct, Luuk, your partner in crime in Doomstar, told me your wife is involved in marine biology. Is that why you have this behind you?
Correct. I am sitting in what was her home office until recently.
Beautiful. Where are you living right now?
Tilburg, home
Okay.
of Roadburn.
Exactly. So you've been here for a long time, correct?
Yeah, I've been living in Tilburg for off and on for the last 10 years, I suppose, with a lot of touring in between. And I was in Eindhoven for like half a year in between.
Okay. Well, Luuk, thank you. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be eating on the podcast, but I'm keeping it healthy. It's an apple. Anyways, Luuk, thank you so much for joining me on my new venture, which has been keeping me very much entertained during this pandemic.
Yeah.
As I know it's been tough for a lot of us because
Yep.
we're so used to, especially you, just being on the road, being social butterflies. Well, this has kind of kept me a bit sane, just being able to talk to people. So it's been a while with you. So thank you for joining.
Definitely. Yeah. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking.
Of course. So I'm gonna give a quick introduction on you. Let me know if I'm missing anything. When I think Luuk, Doomstar Bookings comes to mind. Rectal Smegma comes to mind. You're a beer enthusiast, and if I recall correctly, you just started your own beer brewing company, correct? Entitled, excuse my pronunciation, Kneiter?
Yeah, if you would say that if you're English, yeah, but we pronounce the K and the N together, so it's Kneiter.
Kneiter. Okay. Awesome. And am I missing anything on your quick elevator pitch?
There's a bunch of bands in there, but I don't know if you want to go through all of them.
Anything worth mentioning?
I used to do a sludge band called Throw Me in the Crater.
Okay, I wasn't not aware of this. Awesome.
Yeah, there's a few fun projects in there. I had a spoof slam death metal band called Public Enema.
Nice, nice. Okay, dude.
And
Sorry, keep going ahead.
yeah, everything else is kind of dumb. I had a drum computer gore grind band, like a agoraphobic nosebleed worshipping called Splatter Monkey.
Nice, nice. Splat. I like the title. Anything else?
Yeah, this gets really obscure at this point. I had a noise project, if you can even call it that, called Anatidiphobia,
Okay.
which is the fear that somewhere, somehow, there's also always a duck watching you. It's a legitimate phobia. I'm not shitting you.
Was this a solo thing?
No, this was me and Roel Nijdam, also very known of anal penetration, used to play for bands like Suppository, Last Days of Humanity. A pretty impressive list on his name.
Awesome, dude.
He also
Sorry.
played with me and throw me in the crater.
I was actually aware of this duck phobia because I love ducks, but I can see how ducks can be scary to people. So that's awesome. You paid tribute to these people. Props to you. And dude, you mentioned I was not aware you were in a slam band. That's very cool. The other day on Facebook, my interest with slam has come and gone, but recently I discovered a band called, give me a second, I'm gonna look it up. A band called Snuffed on Sight. Are you aware of this band?
I am not.
Okay.
I do have to say that the reason why we did that band was kind of because we wanted to take the piss out of him.
Okay.
Well, mostly because of some of them just took the politically incorrect word slam death metal a bit too far, maybe.
Gotcha.
So we kind of made a total spoof on that, I guess. Like in this day and cancel culture age, it's not even funny to mention what it is anymore. But it was funny to do it. We did like 2 shows. We played one with an even more politically incorrect band called Begging for Incest, and Cranium was headlining.
Oh my god, that I had never heard of Begging for Incest. That's a new one, an incest themed death gore slam band.
Quite far out there.
I got hooked on this like EP from this band, and I don't know, I was like not on a slam kick, but I posted on Facebook like, yo, people, throw over like some cool slam bands. I'm in the mood for slam. And I got all this hate, it's like the new it's like the new Juggalos or something like that. Although yeah, it's I was not aware of the hate toward slam, but I kind of get it just because of the how
it's hip hop, man, and metalheads hate hip hop.
There you go, wiggers. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's the word right there.
Okay, so we're gonna enough with the slam for now. We're gonna talk about the first question I ask everybody, which for me is the coolest question in the world. Are you ready for this question, Luke?
I am totally ready.
Okay. Do you prefer sweet or savory food?
I don't know. It's a difficult question to ask. It's kind of like, do you like pizza or fries? I mean, I like both.
Pizza.
Do you like ass or tits?
Ass.
Oh yeah, you're a definitive guy.
I'm super. I know what's up. So
I struggle severely with FOMO.
Okay.
So like when I have the choice between 2 things, I always feel like I'm missing out because I picked the wrong one, or I at least want to know what the other one is like.
Okay. What I find that a lot of my guests have the same issue you have. So usually what they do, they choose a combination, which is usually maybe like Asian food or something like that, where it's a combination of sweet and salty. Do you want to go for something like that or no?
Go for some Asian food?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Okay.
Is this gonna turn into a cooking show now?
Dude, I'd love to. Are you a good cook?
I'm a terrible cook.
Okay, then no, then the show will be you watching me.
Yeah. I ask my wife next time. She is the top vegan chef in the house here.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you're having a difficult time answering sweet or savory, let's twist it around and tell me, like, when you and your wife are feeling awesome and you're like, yo, let's go to that one restaurant we love. What's that restaurant in Tilburg?
In Tilburg, it's Monar, but it's like a star restaurant, so we don't really go there very often since it's fucking expensive.
Okay.
And the last time that we ate there, they had like the main theme through all the courses was sour, which
Ooh.
was really nice. I love sour stuff.
Do they, what kind of food do they specialize in?
It's hard for me to tell since we came in there as vegans, so they kind of had to adjust the menu for us. And fortunately, it wasn't too much of what most restaurants do when they have vegans in. They just leave stuff out and don't make food for them.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
take away the cheese. There was super weird stuff, man. You got like this chocolate ball that had cucumber gazpacho in it.
Ooh.
You got this white chocolate little ball, you put it in your mouth and then it pops and you got cucumber. It was like,
that sounds amazing to my brain.
yeah.
Wow.
Just whenever you have a chance to visit a star restaurant, and I know this is not for everyone, but usually it's definitely worth the experience.
Nice.
I can only speak for this one time, since look at me, who wants to see me in the star restaurant?
Okay, and that's really nice of them, because not a lot of restaurants will adapt the menu to vegan. So
Yeah.
props to them, man.
Yeah, actually the main chef came by our table and was pleased to have a challenge to be able to cook something different and like have a challenge to make it at least as the quality of the rest of the food.
Fuck yeah. So shout out to this place. What was the name of this place?
It's called Monar, like
Monar.
monarch, but without the C.
Okay. Monar. Awesome. Dude, talking about delicious vegan food, teething always recalls the best vegan catering we've ever had at Bloodshed Festival. So congratulations. We speak about it annually.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we try to make a bit of an effort for that.
And you definitely do, because I've playing as a band, I've only been once, but I've been there on several occasions as just someone that's moshing in the crowd. Yep. And it's always been great, because they like adapted to like exotic kind of foods. It's not just your regular vegan burger with fries, which is great as well. But so
yeah, but that's the first thing you always get. You want the burger? No, I'm not really.
Awesome.
I'm kind of new to all the vegan stuff myself a bit too. I'm used to it from touring through Europe with all the punk crust, hardcore, grindcore bands through all the squats and the youth centers and whatnot. There's always at least one vegan on board. Right. And then those places tend to cook vegan for everybody. But like when you end up at a place like Zorro in Leipzig and there's a full out spread there, which is like, what is all this stuff? And I've always said, if somebody can cook like that for me for the rest of my life, then I have no issue dropping meat and cheese.
I'm so glad you pointed out the catering at Zorro. It's fucking out of this world. It's for the listeners that have not been lucky enough to experience this, like they will put out like a full-on buffet. I don't know, with at least between 10 and 15 choices. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I like to exaggerate everything at least 15%.
Yeah, I would say usually at least close to 10.
Yeah. And amazing. Just like even the desserts are like elaborate. It's like cake with whipped cream and like
The
out of
cooks
the,
are usually the first ones there. Like they come in before the band and the tech crew. There's people in the kitchen.
yeah.
And I heard later that apparently, because obviously Leipzig offers a lot of really good vegan food,
Mhm.
um, they kind of try to outdo each other for the bands. So it's kind of like a competition among vegan chefs from
That's
Konnewitz, Leipzig, that are trying to best each other.
awesome, friendly
Yay for
competition.
us!
Fuck yeah. And something comes to mind. I don't know why. Um, I fell in love with the stools they have. Do you recall them being like very tall? I'm
Yeah,
not sure why, but
a giant table. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I want this in my future dream home. Very cool. Very cool. And did you, while at Leipzig Zorro, did you, another thing that comes to mind with Zorro is they have a fucking killer record store. Did you pick anything up there?
Yes, I did. Actually, I worked a little bit with the guy that worked there a few times when I was there, Frank. I don't know if you remember him. We used to
I
book some
don't.
shows with him over there. And he knew I was really into all that crazy, dark, alt country stuff, like Those Poor Bastards and the whole Hank Williams the third wave stuff. So he introduced me to a guy called Delaney Davidson, an album called Bad Luck Man, which I still play very often to this day.
Nice. So it was like you trusted Frank and he told you you have to pick this up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you,
he played it for me in the shop actually. I
that's
was immediately into it. It's a New Zealand singer songwriter. Check it out.
I love that. I love that old school relationship, which unfortunately record stores are less and less. But when you can like maybe the guy that runs the place checks out your shirt and he'll recommend something and he'll play it and the cover art is awesome and you're like, okay, I'm definitely taking this home.
That's exactly how I turned my life to shit. I went to a record shop in my hometown and became real good friends with the dude behind the counter. And he was a massive Slayer fan. I came in as a Limp Bizkit head. And now I listen to grindcore.
I would have loved if you switched it around. You were like, dude, you're listening to Slayer, you have to listen to Limp Bizkit. And
Believe
now
me, I tried. That's the reason. That's the reason why I became friends. Like he told me later, like I always knew whenever some snot-nosed kid came to the store talking about Linkin Park or bands like that, and he always knew from a first look if he could break them and make them cry basically over what their musical appetite was for that time. And he never managed to do that with me. Obviously, by now, Limp Bizkit is not the greatest band in the world anymore. But hey, man, if you play me anything from the first two records, first three maybe even, I'm down.
dude, okay, we're already in the dark hole of nu metal. We're gonna be stuck in here for a while. So
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
this is one of my favorite topics, please. Okay. So for those who are listening and are not watching, Luke was nice enough to sport a Drykill Logic shirt, an underrated gem. Well, I don't know if I would say underrated, but definitely went more unheard of,
overlooked. Yeah, definitely
overlooked.
overlooked. Yeah.
Because the other day, I'm gonna retrace a bit and talk about our story. So
Even while they were on Roadrunner Records.
that's true. I must say the cover art for that record is insane. It's very cool. Uh, um, it's very Slayerish. I forgot the darker side of nonsense, I believe it's called.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, for the listeners, I'm gonna retrace a bit a funny story. I hit up Luke the other day. I'm like, yo, be on my podcast. And Luke was like, okay. And Luke asked me, should I dress sexy? And I said, no, wear ICP face paint. And you said, don't push it. And I said, okay, at least wear a nu metal shirt. And you agreed on this. And you were nice enough to give me two options. You said, okay, Luis, we have either Static X or Drykill Logic. And I chose
there's actually more options.
Please, what other options are there?
I think I still have a couple of Slipknot shirts, probably Disturbed. Does Chimera count? I'm not even sure if I have that anymore.
I would say so. I would say so.
First album was new metal.
Yeah, there was a lot of electronic and new metal elements there. I would say so. Okay, that's good. Okay, so retracing back to the t-shirts, do you recall what Limp Bizkit shirt you were wearing?
Back in the day, yeah, I had the shirt with the red hat and the mic drop next to it.
That's a super new metal shirt. Because
Right?
because that was like more the significant other era, I believe.
Yeah,
Dude.
I had a hoodie for a significant other too.
Nice. Well, I'm proud to say, not most people would be proud, but I still sport it once in a while at shows, an old school Limp Bizkit shirt from the early days, which was really cool. Like the lettering was like a gothic font, kind of like Nails kind of logo, you know, medieval. And it had this like girl in a bikini with a handgun. Super cool. Just wanted to show off a little bit there.
Show your seed points.
Yes, and I'm sorry, Luke, I'm not sporting a new metal shirt because I'm at my dad's house, and all of my new metal shirts are at my house. They should be spread everywhere, but they're not. So
they're for special occasions because they're all old and haggard.
Yeah, man. Dude, so talking about new metal, really sad news recently, which was the passing of Joey Jordison. Do you have any cool Joey Jordison stories you might want to share?
Personally, I never really met any of those guys. Back in that day, I was in the Roadrunner street team. So and I did reviews and journalism for a webzine called Metal Rage.
Mm-hmm.
So I did go backstage at Slipknot and like was face to face with Corey Taylor without a mask. But yeah, I mean, when you're 16 years old, that's a pretty impressive experience until you've gone on tour with everybody else and you've been backstage at Hellfest and you realize that it's not that impressive.
And was
Joey, not really.
Okay.
I've seen Murder Dolls. I used to have a Murder Dolls t-shirt.
Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, that's a great record. It's a total, for any like Misfits lover, it's a total love letter to like Misfits Graves era. I can definitely still rock that record.
I will make it worse to you that do you remember that singer Wednesday 13?
Yes,
sure. I was a DJ at this Tilburg show like 4 years ago, maybe.
Okay. Wait, that so was... wait. You, what's the link? You DJ'd at his show?
Yeah, Wednesday 13 was the singer for Murder Dolls. Basically, Murder Dolls was Frankenstein drag queens from Planet 13.
Correct. So,
but my brain remembering a name like that.
But I don't get the link. So Wednesday 13 was playing a solo show and you opened up just DJing?
Oh yeah, I was the DJ. I volunteered to be the DJ that night so I could play all my old new metal records again at a really loud volume.
But okay, I thought my heart just stopped and I thought like Wednesday 13 had a project and you were the DJ in the band.
Oh no, it didn't go that far.
Okay.
I wouldn't even know how to DJ.
Okay. Wait, shit. I'm getting overwhelmed with all of these amazing new metal images coming to my head.
You wanted to talk about Joey Jordison.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. So you were on the street team. You got to say hello to some of the Slipknot members. And do you recall saying hi to Joey or anything?
No, I didn't meet him. I just saw Corey Taylor and that was about it. Because this was in the time when nobody really knew what they looked like.
Right. So it was his first or second album era.
Yeah, I would say maybe around the second one. It was, if I recall correctly, it must have been. Did they do that Unholy Alliance tour with Slayer?
I believe they did that on the Iowa tour. On the Iowa era.
That was it. Okay. That was where I saw them. So
Well,
I did an interview with Mastodon back then. That was fucking hilarious.
those guys are funny.
Yeah.
Any highlights from that interview?
Well, not that I can recall. I met those guys quite a few times after that. And usually it's always Brent that you meet. He actually remembered me, which I found very weird since he must meet thousands of people.
Right.
Yeah, he always just wanted to smoke weed.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm
Yes.
gonna I was lucky enough to meet Joey Jordison on 2 occasions. Something similar to you, kind of just like fanboying out. And one of them was during the Iowa era where he was just walking to the bus. And this was also the era where you didn't know what they looked like, but you saw a short guy with like long hair who like his body language was very Joey Jordison. So me, my friend Douglas Plantara, and my friend Tom Dodds were like, Joey? And he was like, what's up? He was wearing I don't know how nerdy you are with your horror movies, but he was wearing a Blood-Sucking Freaks t-shirt. And we began talking about that movie, and he was I don't want to say surprisingly, but I didn't expect him to be like, he was really down for like, oh, let's talk for 10 minutes. And he was genuinely like nice, and he appreciated like we were there and all this stuff. And the other time I met him was a more brief. He was this was during Murder Dolls was opening up for Papa Roach on this European tour. And there was like an after party, and I went to the after party, and I was wearing a Kiss t-shirt, and same thing. He just like nerded out, like telling me about how much he loved Kiss. It was just like pretty much him talking to me. So he was, yeah, all of my experiences were nice. So
There you go.
yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah, sad to see him go at such a young age.
Yeah, dude. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, it was a sad couple of days, wasn't it? Then was it that day too that the singer of Metal Church also died?
That's right.
And then the following day, Dusty Hill from ZZ Top died.
That's right.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
harsh blow for metal right there.
very hard week. Hard week. Talking about okay, we're gonna end the note on t-shirts. I just want to give you a digital high five because I know you rock a Ren and Stimpy shirt once in a while, and I
do.
And I wanted to know how you stumbled upon a Ren and Stimpy shirt, because that's one of my favorite things in the world.
I think this was a gift from Luuk. It was definitely a gift. I'm 90% sure it was Luuk that gave it to me.
Dude, that's awesome. And I'm kind of jealous. I might.
That's the TV show that ruined us all, isn't it?
Dude, that's influenced me more than like a lot of like my favorite bands. Just because my artwork style and everything, I love fart jokes and snot jokes, and I love stuff that's disgusting because of Ren and Stimpy. So that's awesome. I'm gonna tell Luuk I'm a bit jealous, and if he has another Ren and Stimpy shirt lying around, I might need a
fix.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's talk about your love for beer, Luuk. I'm gonna tell you my my recollection. When I put 1 and 1 together, when I figured out like, whoa, this guy really loves beer, was oh wait, actually no, there's 2 stories. One was when we played together, Rectal Smegma they flew you guys in to play in, I believe it was Almeria.
Yeah.
And you and the guys were drinking a lot of beer. And I was like, these guys like beer.
Yeah, this band, that's kind of the glue that kept the band together.
So that's the first instance I saw, but that makes sense. Like a lot of bands like to drink beer. But when I saw like, well, okay, this guy's an enthusiast. He really likes his beer. Was attending a Bloodshed Festival, and you guys had your own beer.
Correct.
And
yeah.
It felt like a very proud moment, both for you and Luuk. Like when I'd run into you guys, I'd be like, this band was awesome. This band was awesome. And you would be like, but have you tried the beer? Yeah. You're like, but have you tried the beer? Or have you visited the crust bus? Like that was like your highlights. And so walk me through this journey of like starting your own beer company.
Yeah, I guess it kind of started a little bit of my enthusiasm to maybe at some point do it myself with doing the beer for Bloodshed Fest. And it was even nicer that the brewers were the people that used to be involved in the organization of the festival. Later, they did catering for the bands. After that, also catering for bands and the crowd, but they got too busy at some point and were not involved anymore. So it's fun to bring them back into the festival with their brewery and the beer. The way I got into brewing was basically at the start of the pandemic. That year, we were supposed to play Hellfest and Wacken with Rectal Smegma, among a few other ones. So that was kind of like, okay, it probably is not going to get much better after those two. So now they're not happening. And then after, I guess, a month of being depressed and sad, I had the guitar player of Rectal Smegma come visit for an evening. And from that evening, the idea spawned to try and brew our own beer, since he already had some of the equipment and no space, and I had no equipment and enough space to brew at home. Have a pretty big shed. So we did another evening together trying to figure out what else we needed. And then I had a friend who has done quite a few home brews join us for our first attempt to check if we really had everything. He brought the missing elements. Turns out the first 20 times you brew, every solution brings a new problem. But yeah, so we did 5 of the same IPA with different hops. So we kind of learned how the equipment worked and how certain processes worked and all that. And then we tried some other types of beers, one of which has actually became an actual commercially brewed beer. We just let a lot of our friends try beers whenever they came over. One of them got really enthusiastic and wanted to join us for brewing. So since then we became a 3-piece. Basically we just started with the most outrageous recipes we could think of. Like we made a beer that was let me see how to rephrase it. A rum-infused toasted coconut chocolate Dunkelweizen.
Balls out.
Yeah, that was like everything in there. By the end of the year, we had a tasting session with the Little Devil Bar beer dude. I'm sure you've been to the Little Devil Bar at some point in your life.
I don't think so, and I feel like a loser. This is definitely a place I should hit up, yes?
Yeah, this is basically this is the metal bar for the south of the Netherlands, I would say. Nice. Especially whenever there's a show in Tilburg, like a big show, people come hang out there before and after. There's always good after parties there. It has a small room in the back for 150 people-ish. So quite a few bands come through there, like most of the underground death metal stuff or heavy metal and stuff like that all plays there.
Awesome.
So we had a tasting with him, and the guy just flat out ordered 3 boxes of beer. So then we had to figure out how that actually works commercially, because turns out you can't really brew commercially from your house because you deal with permits and excise tax and blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden I had to make a business again. So yeah, basically like with something of the things that I do, it got out of hand, escalated. And by the start of this year, we released our first 2 beers.
Amazing. So it all began with that first, like, that the 3 boxes, and then you just had to figure out running a business, all the paperwork, all the bullshit. And now you're up and running your 2 beers. What are these flavors?
Oh, the first two that we released were a Belgian strong dark ale of
Nice.
9.4%. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with Trappists.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the heavier Trappist, like Chimay Blue and Rochefort 810. At least that's what we think.
Excellent.
And the other beer was a lightly peated black double IPA.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It's a bit more exotic in flavors. Kind of is the stuff that sticks with us the most because we were doing quite a few things with smoke and peated malt. Yeah, both those batches sold out. We brewed a third batch, which was a robust porter of 10%. Half of that went straight into a whiskey barrel that has been in there for almost half a year now, I think. Let's see, what month is it? Yeah, close to half a year now. So hopefully that can be filled up into a bottle and released quite soon as well. We did a collaboration with those guys that did the Bloodshed beer for Little Devil Bar to help them out a bit too. Like every bottle sold, some pennies went to them.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's been a good way to maintain being active in a creative process and actually have a result. Because booking tours, working in a booking agency in this day and age is not
Right.
the most motivating. I shouldn't say motivating. It's a bit depressing.
Right. Okay. So this helped you keep yourself sane and definitely.
Yeah, basically what you're doing with your podcast, I did with beer.
Yeah, there you go. It just a bit of, because is it still a 3-piece?
It's still the three of us doing it. Yeah, we brew at 2 different locations at the moment. It's not like we're making any money or something. It's just all the money that is earned, it goes straight back into the company.
Okay.
We've upscaled our batches from 500 liters to 1,000 at one brewery. The other one, it's not really, it's possible, but you don't get a price discount. And we're buying barrels all the time. Like right now, we have 5 whiskey barrels that have our beer in it.
Dude, Luke, this is a shameless plug. Sometimes I get like a light bulb goes off, and I'm like, something I've always wanted to do. If you're ever in the need for some artwork for a beer, please hit me up. Okay, Ren and Stimpy style or whatever you need, like this kind of shit. These skateboards.
Yeah. Why not? At the moment, it's Stijn from Rectal Smegma, who I brew with, who designs the labels as well.
Okay.
So it's quite handy to keep that in house, but I'll keep that in mind. I'm sure I will run into this question more often.
Okay, that's amazing. I just had to throw it out.
Yeah, no worries.
So when you mentioned before a shed, I've seen these pictures on the website. That looks like a very homey shed where everyone's just having some beers. Is that your property? Is that where you live? Okay. And you just get like get-togethers where like
it's also when the pandemic started, we were sitting, me and my wife was sitting sad and depressed in our backyard, like no festivals. That was the year when we got married, so we had to cancel our wedding party and move it to next year. That was already a few weeks ago, and we moved it again to next year. So it's so she suggested, hey, why don't we make a bar in our shed? And I was like, ooh, now there's an idea.
You're like, what a cool wife.
Yes. So I had some handy friends come in. Actually, a couple of the guys from Romper Prop.
Nice.
That did all the difficult works, like stuff I don't trust myself with. We had really fancy, nice equipment to do that with too. So basically, in one afternoon, they built the bar. We decorated the whole thing, and once you have something like that, everybody brings you shit to put in the bar. There's like surfboards. There's a name, like, man, it's crazy. Actually, if I
Dude, please,
you won't be able to see it.
That's awesome. We're getting.
Does that look? Can you see it?
Can you put a bit more up? A bit more up? A little bit more? Ah, wow, it's bigger than I thought, dude. That's nice. How often do you have gatherings here?
Well, not as much as I used to because it got a little crazy at a certain point. Also, we live in houses right in between other houses.
Right.
And you know what happens when there's alcohol involved.
Yeah, you
People
don't want
tend
your
to get-
neighbors to hate you
Yeah,
quite
but
yet.
so far, zero complaints yet. There was a time that like at least once a week, usually more like twice a week, there was people hanging out,
Okay. So
playing music, and you know how it goes.
I know how it goes. So Luke, so COVID has sucked for obvious reasons. It's been a pain in the ass for Doomstar, for example, but
Yeah.
I know it's been awesome for other reasons. Like I feel like maybe without the pandemic, you wouldn't have been able to start up with this project. You know, you wouldn't have
Never.
had the time or the ideas, whatever. And um, wait, so I don't know if I heard you correctly. Did you end up? You did get married, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so congratulations to that.
Thank you very much.
And so apart from the beer and the awesome marriage, any other like highlights, any like good things that have come about from the pandemic?
Good things that have come about from the pandemic. That's a tough question right there. Yeah, outside of the brewing and well, yeah, the marriage was already planned anyways. The pandemic basically just killed our party and our idea for a honeymoon. Other than that, it's pretty much as sucky as it can get. I mean,
Okay.
it crippled my main company and destroyed the best festivals that we were about to play with Rectal Smegma.
Right.
So yeah, those were some pretty harsh blows.
Okay. So talking about, this is a perfect segue. Let's talk a bit about Rectal Smegma. Talking about awesome festivals, the Hellfest, which you guys are supposed to play, keeps getting postponed, but fingers crossed, it seems like it will happen next summer if everything goes right. So, is this your first time playing Hellfest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been there working and actually visiting quite a few times. It must be like maybe 7, 8 time I will go there.
Okay, awesome. Dude, that's congratulations on that as well. I hope it happens next year because I think that's possibly the European festival.
Yeah, to see our name on the poster with all those names, that is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. Why are we on the same poster as Metallica? I'm sure Metallica is saying the same thing.
Like, why are we on a poster with Rectal
That's the
Smegma?
thing, though. Everybody always notices our name.
Well, can you fault them?
I don't know why.
I know, weirdos. So, dude, talking about Rectal Smegma, are you part of the original lineup?
Oh, no. I joined in 2011.
Okay.
And I think the band's been around for over 15 years now, maybe close to 20 already.
Okay.
It's the drummer and the singer who are the two original members.
Okay. Would you say they're like the driving force, like the pushing force? Because I know you're involved in a lot of like booking, so I'm sure that helps a lot too. But are they like the
yeah, most of the music comes from the drummer who
Okay.
also plays guitar, and he's actually a really good guitar player too. And most of the ideas and the working plans and what stuff that what we should do, like make stupid videos and all that, that all comes from the singer.
Okay. And who's the awesome member that used to have a pug?
That's the singer's pug.
Okay.
His name was Ed.
Ed. And what's your singer's name? I forget.
Yannick.
Okay, Yannick. Super nice guy. I only met him once, but super friendly, super cool, down to earth guy. And I must say, I always had like a strong bond with bands that like were very pushy with like their dog, which I feel like Yannick was with Ed, like putting Ed on album covers and stuff like that. And two other bands come to mind. One being, let's see if you can guess, a very famous nu metal band that would use the dog on the first and only self-titled album they put out.
Wow.
Maybe it's not a very well-known, but I feel like it's one of those that stands out. Like you can definitely rock the album. Okay, should I just tell you?
Yeah, probably for the best.
Snot.
Yeah, I never got into them too much. I only had the straight up tribute album.
Okay, yeah, that's very nu metal.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody was on that one.
That was a must if you were. I was actually searching on Discogs to get that on vinyl. Like, there's like a double LP of that. It's a bit pricey, but eventually it will be mine one day. Well, yeah. So like Yannick did it with Ed. Snot did it with their awesome boxer, and another band came to mind was Sublime with their Dalmatian. And so all between the three of you, those three bands very much influenced me to like push my dog bingo on a lot of like teething artwork, teething music videos, teething t-shirts and stuff like that. So thank you for that subconscious influence.
Pleasure.
And but Ed passed away quite some time ago, right?
Yeah, must have been about 5 years ago now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he got really old, I remember. Yeah, it must have been like over 10 years. It's quite old for a pug, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, pugs usually they have a lot of breathing problems.
Yeah.
So I think 10 is the usual age with like
he has a big English bulldog now called Tank.
Nice.
I think she's close to 10 years old as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So okay. Dog lover. Shout out to Yannick for being an awesome dog lover. So continuing with Rectal Smegma, something comes to mind where I was pleasantly surprised. One day I was on the interwebs just surfing around Facebook, Instagram, and then I'm like, why is Luuk singing for Rectal Smegma? Can you tell me the story behind that?
Yeah. Yannick couldn't make it to that show, but it was Netherlands Deathfest, actually a show he really wanted to play for a long time. So we didn't want to cancel, really. So the idea came to mind, maybe we should get somebody else to sing. And then everybody was against it, besides if I would do it. Because in Public Enema, I do vocals as well. And in Splatter Monkey, I do vocals as well. So yeah, that idea got thrown out a little bit. And since obviously I am also the one that used to go on tour all the time with other bands, I missed quite a few shows with Rectal Smegma too. So we had a spare bass player.
Okay.
So it was easy it was easy. I had to fill his shoes and be the singer, and we got the bass player to fill in for me at Netherlands Deathfest. So I got the green swimming trunks, I got the sunglasses, the hat, I even got these tattoo sleeves.
The South Park tattoos?
Yeah, no. Those are hard to find in sleeve shape, I'm sure. But I went all out with the outfit.
Okay, so it was a one-time thing, and
Totally.
you had a lot of fun. How would you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it sounded good.
It was funny. It was a bit more misanthropic because whenever you give me a microphone in my hand and I'm drunk, I tend to say dark shit.
Dude, awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that was a couple of years. I think that was the first Netherlands Deathfest, correct?
Might have been the second.
Okay. Yeah, because that lineup for the first one was insane. It was like Agoraphobic Nosebleed's second show or something like that. Infest was playing. Insane lineup. So before we close the Rectal Smegma chapter, the last thing you guys released was a very Dutch split with Last Days of Humanity and Clit Eater, but I want to know if there's anything else in the works.
To be very honest, we just rehearsed last week for the first time with everybody together in a year.
Okay.
So we haven't been very active. I mean, we've all had our shit going on. People were getting married. People were starting new business adventures like beers and stuff like that. And we were kind of playing it on the low down already a bit anyways. So we kind of had a sort of forced hiatus, whatever you want to call it. Like. But there is still talk of new stuff. Like we were working on a few new songs by the time that all this stuff happened, and we didn't rehearse for a very long time. So I'm not saying there will be something new, but I'm also not saying there won't be.
Okay. So whatever it is, it just seems like it's a very slow and easy process.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So Luuk, let's talk a little bit about one of your babies, which is Doomstar Bookings. What is this, like 20 years strong, 15 years strong?
Oh, no. What year is it? 2021. We officially became a company in 2009.
Okay.
I joined Luuk in 2008, and I think Luuk was already doing bookings for bands as early as 2005 or maybe even before.
Okay. So I want to talk some highlights. Well, we already got into like it's been a shitty year for bookings all around the world, but does it seem like it's definitely opening up, or are you still not gonna yell victory?
I'm definitely not yelling victory. No. There is things happening. There are things possible again, but the scenario where an international group of people travels between countries for 20 days in a row, I don't see happening this year.
Right.
Basically due to everything changing all the time, and different nationalities have different restrictions in different countries, which makes it impossible to plan anything. Like you can't really quarantine people on a tour. You know the drill. All the reasons why you haven't made a show in the last year or so.
Right.
I do see possibilities for bands playing shows in their own countries and maybe the neighboring ones. You definitely can't tell which countries are leading the way. The US and the UK are definitely opening up a bit more. I'm actually going to the Alcatraz Festival next week or this week in Belgium.
Okay.
The Netherlands obviously had 2 weeks of maybe we have shows again, and then fuck you guys, and then nothing is open anymore. But if you have a soccer match, you win, you put 80,000 people in an arena and everything is fine. So the hypocrisy is astounding. It's basically the same. I think we're going to keep riding these waves until we get to 85% vaccinated, and then we're going to lose all the bands that have one member that is essential enough for the band that doesn't want to get vaccinated for the band to quit after that. That's my prediction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like Offspring just kicked out that drummer because he refuses to get vaccinated. I'm sure that's not going to be the last one.
I saw that, yeah, and I actually didn't put that together, but that makes a lot of sense. Where these 4-piece, 5-piece.
Those are professional musicians. They need to make money by playing shows. If you are the ones stopping them from being able to do that, it's time for you to go do something else.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody should get vaccinated, but if you want to keep doing your job in this line of business, you have very other choice, unless you are going to be able to unite everybody with you and destroy the government.
Your radar is everywhere about this, so it's really interesting seeing your insight about like predicting the near and far future. So, Luuk, anything else you want to add about this before I ask you some concrete Doomstar questions?
About when stuff is going to open up again?
Yeah, anything else you want to add, even though I think you were pretty elaborate?
Yeah, I think so far the music industry has proven quite resilient. It's tough for me to say how stuff is looking, for instance, in Italy or Greece, but yeah, because they have so many problems on top of this one. But I think, especially for us, it goes whenever shit is allowed again, we're ready. So if people come out to the shows, there will be shows once they're allowed again.
Right. I feel and I hope people are going to be very excited because I got really excited a month or two ago when I started seeing all of these like hardcore shows in LA and California and stuff. It was it was a big relief because for a while there I was really scared. Like the word was scared. Like I didn't know if concerts were ever going to be back, at least for our kind of bands. So that was exciting to see some of those YouTube videos. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that segment is going to suffer the worst, especially if they're going to make restrictions hard with vaccination passports and blah blah whatnot.
Yeah.
In our scene, there's quite a few people who I'm pretty sure are very against anything that the government forces them to do.
Yeah.
You can put one on one together and see that there's going to be some issues for the underground more than the arena bands.
Yes, makes perfect sense. So, Luke, before we continue, I must apologize because I need to go pee-pee. So give me 1 minute. Apart from bookings, I know you've had your fair share of driving the van for many bands, and I know you've bonded with a lot of bands. And one band comes to mind. I feel like you established like a pretty close friendship with the Eat the Turnbuckle guys. So do you have any like cool stories you want to share? Because those guys took extreme to the next level.
Totally. Yeah. That the two tours I did with them are the definitely my go-to stories every time. Somebody asked me that a couple of years ago, like, so what's the craziest story you got on tour? And I just like, this was while touring was still happening. So that just so much came to my head. I couldn't really take a pick. But looking in hindsight, that band was definitely the most intense, insane shit that I ever saw. And don't get me wrong, like all those dudes are fucking sweethearts. They look gnarly as fuck, but if they're your friends, they will fucking walk through fire for you. The craziest story was, I think it was the second tour I did for them. Yeah, pretty sure. We had a show in London at this really weird bar that was totally unfit for them. And this was at the end of, this was a long tour. This was like 3 or 4 weeks. And during the show, the guitar player Slack, who is also an actual professional wrestler of the extreme kind. So that dude is covered from head to toe in tattoos and scars. So he always had this move where he would break, like you get somebody in this lock with the head between his legs and his arms like to the side and take like a bundle of light tubes and break him on his head. But he pulled back his arm a little bit too far, so Slack, the guitar player, broke the tubes and then slashed his own head with a pretty big gouge. Kept bleeding. And he was in the toilet trying to make it stop bleeding, but it didn't. So this was Friday night in London. It's not really the best night to be going to a hospital. And we had a ferry to catch in the middle of the night, and we had Wacken to play. So yeah, what do we do? So I was like, okay, fuck it. Let's not go to a hospital in London. Let's just pack our shit and drive to Dover and go to the hospital there. We end up in Dover. Hospital is not open on Friday night.
Shit.
Kind of like DIY bandaging him up on the parking lots. Like some night warden comes out from the hospital to like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, yeah, we have this situation here. And she's like, I have to fucking get on the ferry and my hands are covered in blood. Screaming. Like, oh, what the fuck, man. So we got on the ferry. Everything is fine as far as can be.
Yeah.
We drive through all the night. In the morning, we get close to Wacken. And I had the Goddamn Gallows on tour as well. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yes.
Or like a country-esque punk rock band.
Very much in your ballpark.
Yeah. And they were playing Wacken the same stage as we were, right in the slot before ours. So the driver, Friedemann, best road warrior in the world ever, he calls me saying, hey, we just passed Hamburg and we're in the worst traffic jam ever. And I don't know if we are going to make it to Wacken. So as me being the tour booker for that tour, I had to eat the Turnbuckle straight into the same traffic jam.
Shit.
While trying to arrange that some arrangements were made for when the band would arrive, that they could drive straight to the stage for the Goddamn Gallows. So it's like, okay, we still have a little bit of time. I'm going to gas up here, but obviously it's 4 weeks tour. I'm dead tired. I've drove all through the night. I have a bleeding idiot in the back of the bus. I'm not paying attention while I'm gassing up, and I put Euro in my diesel.
God damn, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you do? So we just pushed the van and the curb into the grass. We got some tubes to suck out the diesel, and Schlag had a full gulp of gasoline in him. We put like all the gas just goes straight into the grass on the side of the gas station. We push the van back, fill it up, and like there goes nothing. Start the truck, and it works. Thank God. Oof. So then I had to race all between through the little villages to try and avoid traffic jam, while still calling and texting and emailing Wacken like, hey, that other band is about to get there. Oh man, and we arrived to the festival. There's the Goddamn Gallows van. The band is playing. The gas of their van went dead the minute they stopped at the festival. I mean, this was so many things coming together at once. And then we were asking Wacken repeatedly, like, those guys wanted to do the craziest show they've ever did. But Wacken was super uptight about it and did not want any extreme stuff on their stage, not messy stuff. So like, they were like, we want to set ourselves on fire. Is that okay? Like, no, you can't set yourselves on fire. We want to do this. We want to do that. And everything I asked, they said, no, you can't do that. So they were like, stop asking shit. We're just going to do what we didn't ask yet. So man, we had a couple of the guys at the Goddamn Gallows join. They did like this move where you have like these wooden sticks that you put your meats on. They're like shashlik or whatever you want to call it. The pointy ones.
Yeah.
And just grab a bundle of them, stick them here, and then just hammer them in.
Oh my God, dude.
They did that with the entire band. So there's 5 people with a bundle of wooden sticks nailed in their foreheads walking around. Like,
oh my God, dude.
They are actually at this very moment putting together a DVD with all of the footage that was ever made. Obviously the best stuff of it. Like both of those European tours, I pretty much videoed almost all those shows. There was always a couple of extra GoPro cams.
Nice.
That's in the works right now, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I believe there was like a Kickstarter campaign, was it, or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Of GoFundMe, something like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, they got some money from that. I know it's all being worked on at the moment. I think you could win being body slammed by Schlag if you donated. So that was just videotaped last week. I think some poor fella had to. Oh man, you don't want to get hurt by him. That dude is just a lump of concrete.
Exactly. I actually remember, I don't recall if it was the first European tour or the second European tour, but both you and me were talking together because we were trying to book a Madrid show, and I just couldn't find an appropriate venue that was down, which I'm guessing this was one of the constant problems
with them all the time. It usually turned into an insurance problem. Like who's going to be liable when shit goes wrong, and they all said nothing ever goes wrong, but believe me, there was 1,000 things that could have gone terribly wrong.
And
that tour, the first night we did a festival in France called Rip Fest with double I, and the drummer's like, "Oh, I want to be suplexed for this show." Say Schlag's like, "Well, you've never done that. You don't know how to do that." "Oh, I want to be suplexed." "Okay, I'll suplex you." So he suplexed him. Dude breaks his foot and still has to do a month longer tour playing drums.
Yeah, actually, I've that Rip Fest. We've played there, and I must say, like, excellent organization. Like, it's super pro, super cool crew.
It sucked that we had to drive overnight to go to Inflamen and play that the next day.
Oh shit, dude! And but I do recall you telling me, like, Luis, like, these guys are, like, they make a mess, but as soon as they're done with the show, like, they all take responsibility and make sure everything's picked up, all of the, like, whatever, whether it's blood or like glass, like they pick it up themselves.
Try their best. They try their best.
So what, from this awesome story you just shared with me, the insane trip from London to Wacken, is there a lesson to be learned there? Did you learn any lesson?
No.
I'm sure you double check every time you put gasoline. Maybe that.
Yeah, that's definitely something I learned. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
It's definitely worth seeing a huge dude full of tattoos and beards huffing gas out of the protector. And then the singer finding out that at the gas station across the street they sell these pumps to do that with.
Oh, there's actual special pumps to do that with? I thought it was okay.
It happens more often than you think.
Shit, dude. So another tour comes to mind, which I don't know if your experience was the greatest. But I think this is the tour where we met, was with Hemdale.
Yeah.
This was like a 5-week tour, correct?
Yeah, it was a 4-week tour, but I was already on tour for a week with Terrorizer LA before that, and I just swapped drivers with that at Obscene Extreme.
Okay.
That I learned a lesson that tour. Yeah.
What was the lesson you learned?
Don't do DIY tours like that for a month anymore. That was too rough. I mean, I've definitely had worse than that.
Right.
But it was definitely rough touring in a Sprinter van with no AC coming down to Malaga with 40 degrees.
Yeah.
With like both windows open, shirt off, and like you stick your arm out the window and it'd be hotter there than inside the van. That was pure suffering. I drove those 1,000 kilometers from Barcelona from this really cool but not the cleanest squad to come see you guys, which is we're in tropical paradise. Woo, it's so nice. Oh, they have AC. Everything's nice, but we had to drive overnight again to get to Milius de Festa.
Yeah. What was the name of, was it Andy, the drummer?
I think so.
I think, okay, so it was Andrew and Patrick. I just remember Andy because I caught you guys in Malaga. He was just so tired of not being able to access cold beverages, which I think is just I think you don't get that in the US. Everything's like ice cold.
American thing, yeah, ice.
Yeah. So, okay. So any well, you shared some cool highlights, but any other highlights from that tour you want to share?
Tour? I know it was the first night was pretty fun. Like I met them at Obscene Extreme, which is not the most ideal place to try and get to know each other a little bit. So the first show after that was in Poland, in Krakow, I think, which is where Kuchar joined us from. Help me out here. What's the
Suffering Mind?
Suffering Mind, exactly. Yeah. So he had a band with Andy called Nakei, and they were doing support for the first week or two. Mm-hmm. You know, like Kuchar is a super PC cross punk, and
right.
I'm the bass player for Rectal Smegma, so he was kind of like keeping his distance, but yeah, in the end he had to admit people are people, and if they're good people, they're good people.
There you go.
Well, yeah, that first night, Matt's his name. Matt got super drunk, and Matt is one of those people who turns into an absolute retard when they're drunk. Like not annoying, well, except for to himself maybe, but yeah, he decided to go out when we got to the hotel, which was this really nice pension kind of place
Uh-huh.
with all these nice pillows and these nice paintings on the wall. It's like, why the fuck did they book this place for us to stay? Like he went outside, I don't know, doing something, and I was like, well, should I check on him? I don't know where he went. So I took a shower and he still didn't come back. So I went outside. Oh yeah, this is what happened. He said he was going to sleep in the bus. Why, nobody knew, because those were really nice beds, really nice hotel. So I went outside to see where the fuck he was. Like the van's wide open. There's nobody there. Like, what the fuck is going on? So we look around the hotel. Patrick and me were looking for him, started yelling his name. And then all of a sudden, out of the bushes, he comes with his pants on his ankles. He didn't drink for when we got to Milius de Festa again, I think.
Uh-huh.
Because he was so embarrassed that he turns into an absolute retard when he
Well,
drinks.
on his behalf, at least he was conscious, because a lot of people will just keep repeating the mistake every night. So actually, I think I recall this story. Someone told me this story, but so the van was completely open with no one.
Yeah, we had our luck was that the parking was behind a fence that belonged to the hotel, so nothing was
Okay.
missing. But yeah, I mean that tour had something crazy pretty much every night. Patrick and Andy would get super drunk every night, and they were a bunch of 20-year-olds on their first tour in Europe, so you kind of know how
You can
they
imagine,
are. Yeah. It's not the easiest to tour with.
Well, that was awesome.
I ended that tour actually we did a show at Copenhagen at Ungdomshuset, and then I had to fly the next day from there to Brutal Assault to play at 10:30 in the morning with Rectal Smegma. Yeah, that was fucking insane. So I had to get up at like, I don't know, middle of the night, 4 o'clock, to take a train, a bus, blah blah, whatever, to get to the airport, fly there, be there at the festival the whole day, and then play the next morning, and then go back to Prague for the Obscene Extreme after party. Like 5 weeks of touring wasn't enough. Yeah, I always like to punish myself with like to push it to just the other level.
Yeah.
If I even think about shit like that now, I would never ever want to do that again.
Yeah, you pretty much just linked Terrorizer LA, Hemdale, and Rectal Smegma all in one. And then you passed out when you're done with something like that, will you like fall asleep for 2 days in a row or something like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking exhausted at the end of that. It takes me quite some time to get back in
human
shape. Yeah, but these are like, we're talking, I was, I guess, somewhere in my 20s when all that shit happened. So when you're in your 20s, you do shit like that. You push yourself to those limits, and it's fun at that day and age. Right now, I rather just be home with my cat watching cartoons.
There you go, dude. That's for every episode I have, I quote whoever's talking, and I think I'm gonna quote that. I think what you just said. Right now, I'd rather just be with my cat at home watching cartoons. So one last thing I want to tackle about Doomstar is another proud moment for you and Luke, which I believe was the crust bus. I want to ask you, is the crust bus, because I know it was having some difficulties during the pandemic, has it survived? Okay.
Yep. It's still around. It's parked at some farmers at the moment.
Okay.
Still looking exactly like it did when you saw it last time.
Awesome. So would you say that's definitely one of your coolest moments surrounding Bloodshed and Doomstar?
Yeah. Like when we did the last Bloodshed, we kind of felt it coming, like either this is going to really work or grindcore is really dead, or at least for the way that we are trying to do it or approach it. So I just wanted to make it as elaborate and fun as possible. So we got all the visuals involved. We got the beer done. And then the crust bus was really just icing on the cake to use that as a noise stage to have these crazy performance artists there. I mean, to me, that scene is always quite linked with, especially with the squatting scene and like the really DIY, the punk crazy, but that also links into the electronic scene a little bit. So I've always felt that stuff deserves to have a stage as well. So
For sure.
I'm really happy that we did that with those 4 acts too, especially the last one.
Dude, why especially the last one? I'm lost.
Wasn't it Lick the Kicker?
Okay, I didn't check this out.
It translates as Lick the Frog. And a little while before that, one of the core members of that band died. So it was kind of like a tribute show. But because it is also a trash act, as they call that, like you have fucking bastards in the Netherlands as well. Like they just bring a bin full of garbage and throw it around everywhere. They just make a giant mess while there's this harsh noise, and they're all wearing these homemade helmets made from cardboard boxes and with eyes on it. And like you basically just looking at something for 30 minutes and you have no idea what the fuck you're looking at.
Okay, good way to close the noise act. Yeah. And I know this question is a long shot, but in the distant future, would you see the possibility of doing another Bloodshed Festival if the world goes back to normal?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we are discussing a new initiative, but I feel at this day and age, it really feels like grindcore is quite dead.
Interesting.
I think at least like the way that we were trying to do things, like the hipster crust and all that stuff. If you compare it to what Obscene Extreme is doing, I mean, it's quite very alive there, but half of the crowd is death metal head or something else.
Right.
So in that way, with that setup at that festival, with that pricing and beer pricing and all that, it works. I mean, for everybody, it's the cheapest holiday you can have. And it's nicely enough organized. I mean, you have one of the craziest weekends in the world there. We always try to get like the more like the exclusive bands that are really hard to get. I mean, I'm sure Kirby tries as well. Like he's asked Tragedy a million times, and Wolf Brigade, but those are bands who are like, we kind of don't feel like playing a festival where people come on stage naked or dressed up like ballerinas and shit like that. So we were lucky and that fortunate. And basically that was Luke's brainchild, or actually Paul from Fubar's brainchild, and Luke joined him back in the day for that. And we basically scratched all the bands off our list that we wanted to have. We did a grindcore festival for 20 years, 20 editions, and we never had Napalm Death play, which is
insane.
Quite an accomplishment, right?
Yeah, man. And that's definitely going to be one of those festivals I will always miss, because thanks to Bloodshed, I was able to see Catharsis, for example. I probably wouldn't have seen Catharsis if not. Or just so many Friendship from Japan, or Infest, or just so props. So I want to ask you, that's so interesting you say that you feel the grindcore, at least in the Bloodshed way, is more dead. What do you think was more alive about it a couple of years ago? Like, what was pushing? Was it because Bloodshed was around, or what do you think was stronger back then?
I don't know. I think the scene aged and didn't have anything big come out until Nails and Insect Warfare came around.
Right.
But there's this whole pause in like there's a whole like generation gap in grindcore, I feel.
Right.
And I mean, like Napalm Death will always draw 300 to 500 people wherever the fuck they play, but they've also dabbled around in other scenes. They've been around since the 80s. They're one of the original bands, so obviously that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, the underground always kept going, but there was never anyone that broke through until Nails and I guess Insect Warfare. But Insect Warfare decided not to really want to play.
Right.
And nails is a whole different ball game too.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that anymore, but
Yeah.
I think the dude himself doesn't really know anymore either. So I think
Yeah.
that generation gap, that group of people missing there,
Right.
is really what's the problem. Like with nails, it was like when you had a nail show in the Netherlands, it's like a friend of mine described that there's grindcore tourists coming around, like people from other scenes coming to see what's up, and then the real grind heads, like all that competition to like what's real grind, and I don't want to listen to your porn gore. Just fucking don't listen to it.
Dude, that's
Blah blah.
yeah, your insight is super interesting because I never actually viewed it that way, but it makes perfect sense.
There
I
wasn't
feel
anything bad in that period.
yeah. I feel like the world needs a new insect warfare, or new nails, or something like that.
I'm sure there's going to be a moment when this world turns fucked up enough where people bother to do something like that again, and maybe it's got more electronics in it. I don't know what's going to be, but like reading the IPCC report that came out yesterday should be enough reason to fucking be pissed as hell at everything and start a proper grindcore band.
Well, I didn't read this. What did the IPCC?
Basically, now we're acknowledging that after 40 years of warning for what may come in climate change and all that, it's now here.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's things that are now irreversible, like the melting of the North Pole and potentially the stop in all of the ocean streams, currents, and all that stuff. We're in a really bad shape, and if we don't fix it before the end of this decade, it's going to be quite fucked for a whole lot of people.
Right. Okay.
But none of them are poor. Rich, I should say.
I'm surprised I didn't stumble upon this article. I'll check it out when I'm off.
Yeah, it was all over the news yesterday, but I read up on apocalyptic shit all the time.
Okay. Luke, anything else Doomstar related before I ask you my last and awesome question ever for this podcast? Like, and what's maybe you want to talk about the future. For example, I don't know if you booked that Nervosa Warbringer tour, but that's impressive. Anything you want to...
Like I said before, like we've been keeping busy this entire time, especially props to Luke, who has really never want to acknowledge or give in to what the situation was and always be prepared. That dude has booked several times, maybe several tours, maybe 5 times. So yeah, like his work spirit was part of why we definitely kept going. Like I said, once things happen again, we'll have tours.
Okay, so shout out to Super Trooper Luke.
Just come out to the shows when you're allowed to.
For sure. I can't wait. I don't know how it's affected you, but I'm definitely a worst human being since I have not been able to or attend shows or give shows. I'm just like a shitty person. I'm like, people don't want to hang around me too much. I'm a downer. I feel like I need this in my life again. So looking forward to, I'm glad you're able to go to a show this weekend, for example.
Yeah, me too. I'm especially happy that it's Heilung headlining there, because I think Heilung, it's maybe not for the grindcore people, but first time I heard it, I was like, this is not for me either, until I saw it live and got a little more into it. Like that's the kind of music that this world needs right now.
For sure. I've never listened to them, but I will check it out. And are you ready? Sorry, what?
Check it out with a video.
Okay, with a video.
They're very. It's like live on stage is half theater, half music.
Okay. So half of the experience is the visuals.
Watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luke, so my last question is a very selfish question, and I don't know if it's you can identify yourself with. But I'm a big horror nerd. I love horror movies. So I want to know if there's any cool horror movies you've seen the past few years. It doesn't have to be a recent movie. It can be an older movie, maybe something you've watched with your wife. Any cool shout outs, maybe a cool movie you've seen.
The one that stuck the most is probably Mandy.
Oh, okay. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, super cool soundtrack,
for sure.
insane visuals, and pretty nice ending.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, a lot of people shout out a lot of the more recent Nicolas Cage movies. I keep on saying it. I feel like Nicolas Cage has he's like his own genre at this point. It's just like insane horror movies. Yeah, there you go, dude. And apparently there's this new one called Pig.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but I'll let you know. And to tell you the truth, Mandy, I didn't really get into it, but I think it deserves a second viewing just because it has all the ingredients I look for in a movie. But maybe
I just really like the camera work. Like every shot was like, it was almost like Wes Anderson made a horror movie.
That's right. But I just remember being like, I didn't understand what was going on, but maybe that's part of the experience.
Yeah, I kind of like that a lot, dude. I love shit like House of a Thousand Corpses, where it's just like you're basically in a bad acid trip.
Okay, exactly. There you go. Yeah, a lot of those movies, like for example, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, even though it's not a horror movie, I feel like I really enjoyed it because I was super high watching it. Maybe if I wasn't that high, I wouldn't have enjoyed it that much. But yeah,
watch it again, but still be high. That movie is awesome.
It's definitely it's definitely a unique film. So okay, so we'll go for Mandy. Anything else you want to shout out?
Anything Arnold Schwarzenegger does is awesome.
Awesome. As just like we mentioned, Dry Kill Logic, any like overlooked Schwarzenegger movies you want to
overlooked Schwarzenegger movies? I mean,
because everyone mentions, of course, Terminator, Predator. Dude, Kindergarten Cop is a good one, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Twins. Do you know that that's the movie that he made the most money off of?
Really? Why?
Because he made a deal that was never done after that again. He basically made a deal with the director. It was the director that did Ghostbusters.
Ivan Reitman?
Yeah. Then Danny DeVito, he just basically wrote the deal on a napkin, went to the producer and said like, hey, we'll work for free. We just want the back end. Once the movie is released and it's a success, we'll get a percentage. He made more money off of that movie than any other movie.
Wow, dude. That's smart.
He's a businessman.
For sure.
Very small one.
Very sure. Dude, Danny DeVito, another amazing character in the world. But Twins, I actually just watched for the first time 2 years ago. And I was like, where has this movie been all my life? That's just
fucking hilarious.
That is my kind of humor, dude. It's so good.
That's the thing that he wanted to make that movie because he always thought that he could play a comedy guy,
a goofball.
Yeah, he definitely proved it. But if you want the real underground stuff, there's two. His very, very first movie made in 1969 called Hercules in New York. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I've heard a lot about this, but I haven't seen it.
It's been re-released a couple of years ago with his original audio track, because obviously at this time he just moved to America. His English was absolutely terrible. Subtitles are necessary, and like he can't make out what he's saying half the time. And the movie is so B movie, it's awesome. Like I watched that first time I saw it, I watched it 3 times in a row and just died at laughter.
Wow. And is this Hercules in New York, correct? That's the name?
Yep.
So I'm guessing this was the 70s?
1969.
Okay. I love movies that were filmed in New York in that era where you see the gritty gray New York. So this is one I definitely need to check out.
On your list, yeah. And then the other one, I've only seen that one once myself, but I think there's different names to it. One of them is Cactus Jack, and the other one is The Villain, I believe. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger with Kirk Douglas in a Western movie where Arnold plays a cowboy with the name Handsome Stranger. And he's protecting this wife while Kirk Douglas lays all these Wile E. Coyote traps and fails miserably. It's cringe, but hilarious.
It sounds like a cartoon.
It's based on that. You really feel like you're watching Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
That's amazing. I'm sure you've seen this one. I haven't seen it, but The Running Man.
Oh yeah.
It's just the premise seems right up my alley. Like, I don't know, I haven't seen it yet. Like, I've seen screenshots of the movie. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty apocalyptic manhunt kind of thing.
For sure. Okay, so I feel like
he is amazing too.
Which one?
Total Recall.
Yeah, Total Recall for sure. I think because that was Paul Verhoeven, but I believe initially someone else was gonna direct it. That's super fucked up and crazy. I don't remember who, but it would have been really interesting to see. I don't know, like something like David Lynch, but I don't know. But I know it wasn't David Lynch, not as classy, but someone insane. True Lies is also a great one.
That is amazing. Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, I feel like if we keep on rambling, we're gonna just talk about every Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. That's how I actually used to do my interviews when I worked for that webzine. I ask every person I interviewed who they preferred in movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone.
What's your answer?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fuck Stallone.
Dude, yes, but Tango and Cash.
But stop or my mom will shoot.
Exactly. And
did you know, I actually just watched a video of that again yesterday, that Arnold is such a smart man that he messed with Stallone by creating these rumors where Stallone would hear like, oh, there's this movie role for this movie called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Schwarzenegger says he'll do it, so you have the offer too, man. Take it. You need to take it. So he made Stallone say yes to a bunch of really, really shitty movies.
So he manufactured these rumor lies, so Stallone would make these questionable films.
He likes to play mind games a lot. Yeah. That's what he did with his bodybuilding career too.
Okay, but I always thought there was just this friendly rivalry between Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Like, for example,
later, yes, but there was a point where they really, really hated each other's guts.
Oh, okay, I wasn't aware. For example, I'm guessing the birth of the friendly rivalry was that awesome cameo in Last Action Hero when there's Stallone's on the
somewhere around that period. Yeah. That movie is fucking awesome too.
Great soundtrack, very iconic. I don't know how I feel like it deserves. Yeah, man. I feel like it deserves the cult status already. I feel like it hasn't gained its resurgence of like new fans. Just because like even like the clothes he's wearing is so iconic, you know? That could be a perfect Halloween costume. You just need the red shirt and the brown vest.
Jack Slater.
Exactly.
That's still a band. There was a band from Germany, I think, called Jack Slater.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay, awesome. And any movie that has like a sort of like rebel Edward Furlong kid is good in my book. Like Last Action Hero had that one kid, which was fucking sick, man.
Yeah. He's like that. That's why our generation liked him. I think you saw Terminator 2. You wanted your own fucking Terminator.
Exactly.
I want a huge muscular man on a motorcycle swinging around a shotgun at people.
Easy money, dude.
And you can tell him what to do.
Exactly. So, Luke, I think we're ending on
the parents are dead.
And that was my very special, awesome, amazing, encouraging, fascinating conversation with Luuk Van Gestel of Rectal Smegma, Doomstar, and Kneiter. Please tune in next week or whenever for my conversation with Daniel Maganto of the mighty Eternal Storm, ex Undervultures, ex Thieving, ex many other things. He works with Madness Tour Booking, I believe. Mad Tour Booking, I don't know. Sorry, Daniel. So, whatever. Just, I'm gonna try to keep this constant again. I'm sure I can do it if I put my mind to it. So, ghouls and gals, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Good night and good morning, and thank you, drive through.